is actually the divergence represents the vectorial field notation of the fluid flow. So in which direction the fluid flow is going, so that will be actually addressed by this divergence of the fluid flow. So it does the best examples are the source and sink flows for the divergence of the velocities or divergence of the flow fields. Now next discussing about the curl of the velocity. The curl, what exactly this curl defines is whenever there is a fluid rotation, whenever there is a fluid rotation or the fluid vorticity is happening. So we would like to see exactly the curvatures which is made or the circles. So the fluid curvature which is making inside that one. So that will be mostly in the form of a curvatures which is making in that. So it exactly defines the local rotation of the fluid flow where it is having that particular velocity in that direction. So it defines the when the curl of velocity. How we can define is take a welling of water. So that is take a glass of water and make a continuous stirring in that one and put a piece of water in that water. Put a piece of paper. Put a piece of paper in that water. So that paper actually describes the local rotation of the fluid in which it is happening. So that is actually defining the curl of the velocity, right? So that defines the local velocity of the fluid flow. Whenever we are saying it is a curl of the velocity, so that is actually defining the local velocity of the fluid flow. Then next, when we talk about the gradient, so whenever we are talking about the gradient can be best explained it as a scalar field. It is not a vector field. It's actually a scalar field, right? So where the cold and the hot water sink is available, where the cold and the hot water sink, so that is your shower. So the best example is a shower where the cold and the hot water will be coming and mixing, and from there it is giving, right? So that where it can change the maximum rate of field, in the cold water when we are supplying within a hot water. So finally the stream of water is having a mixed in this one. But this gradient always can be, or this gradient can be best explained as best explained as a scalar field, but it is not a vector field, right? So it is a point where the once water can be sinked down in a cold water, right? So this is actually explains that the gradient is maximum rate of change of field inside that one. Or the best example I explained can as a scalar field. So gradient is taking a maximum rate of change of field and dipping at one point. So that is actually. So before starting our derivations, we should know about this Gauss divergence theorem, which would be very helpful in our understanding of the fluid flow problems, because as we are approaching with a finite control volume, as we are approaching within a finite control volumes and infinite control volumes, in these approaches of mathematical way, so we need to utilize this divergence theorem. So let us discuss what exactly the divergence theorem is. For example, if E is a simple solid region, so for example the infinite solid element which we have considered earlier, assume that the same simple solid region we are discussing here, and let S be the surface of that particular solid element, and so where the fluid surface is available, let S be the boundary surface of the E, that is the E is representing the element here in this one, and with a positive outward orientation. So that means the fluid is entering in and leaving out in this direction. The fluid is entering in this direction and leaving it or leaving out in this direction. Right. And let F represents the field vector or the force vector of that particular component. And whenever we are specifically interested only along the particular direction, so we will be going within a partial derivatives. So what is the advantage of this Gauss divergence theorem is the surface models of the forces and the resultant, the surface models of the resultant streams, that is the complete volume of a cube, when the fluid is entering from one surface and leaving out from the other surface. This complete can be modeled as in a volumetric fluid flow. Then it is actually representing the elemental volume divergence of the fluid flow with the force and the vector field introduced in that one. So then it will become, so that is surface integral can be converted by using the Gauss divergence theorem, that is represented by, here you can see double integral of S is become triple integral of, so that has become the elemental volume here in this one. So that is divergence of F into dV. So where F represents the same force here in this one, and now the surface has become the volume change. The surface has become the volume, right? surface has become the volume. I think everyone might have modeled this CAD modeling technique. So when you would like to extract when you would like to extract the, or when you would like to make a solid or three-dimensional solid, so what we would generally do is we'll make initially one rectangular surface, and when we extrude it out, that will become a solid surface. Similarly, this divergence theorem is also helping us by combining all that surfaces into, by making that all the solid surfaces, joining it as to form as in a complete one solid three-dimensional surface. That is the use of the divergence theorem. So let us discuss about the new topic here. It is, that is the physical meaning of the divergence of velocity. Physical, what is exactly the physical meaning of the divergence of velocity is here on screen. Here on screen you can see, here on screen you can see that there we have considered an arbitrary surface. Let me annotate it on the screen. Here we have considered an arbitrary surface, and with the surface area of S, with the surface area of S, and here in this one I have considered an elemental surface. I have considered an elemental surface, which elemental surface is represented by an ds. Elemental surface is represented by an ds. So initially this surface and perpendicular vector to this one is represented by an n. So that n is a unit vector which is perpendicular to this surface. So initially what I have done is I have defined one surface. I have defined one surface of area S, and in that one the elemental surface I have represented within a ds. And if this surface is making on a volume, let me define that volume as V. Let me define that volume as V in this one. Right. So the elemental surface, as you can notice, this elemental surface, we have made one perpendicular vector to it. So that we call it as a normal vector, or the unit vector in the normal direction. Unit vector in the normal direction, that is represented by a small u. That is represented by the small u. Right. So when the surface area of the ds, when the elemental surface area of ds, just assume if I want to make the surface into the volume, when I want to make the surface into the volume, what I can do is I have to draw this, make a small elemental volume, and I'm extruding it. I'm dragging it in this direction along the dotted line in the direction of V, where this V represents a velocity direction, where this V represents a velocity direction. So with the time t. So actually when we are multiplying within a velocity with the time, so that means we are actually getting the distance along that. We are actually getting the distance along that. Right. So what exactly this V represents here on this one, that is a volume. Here this V represents the volume of this particular fluid element when I'm dragging that small elemental surface. Right. So now what is the distance in between? So now it comes to the question, what is the distance in between these 2 points? So to represent that distance, what I have done is I have taken my velocity in this direction of the V, have multiplied with a delta t. So that means the time I have dragged in this direction, I have multiplied with the time change, happened from 0 seconds to the time second. Then it has given me, when I multiplied with the velocity with the time, I get the resultant as a distance of it. So that is the distance in the direction of the V. I have moved in that one. So that gave me V into delta t. That gave me as V into delta t. So that means the time variation is being considered, and how much distance or how much length have dragged that particular small elemental surface to make it as volume, that has also been addressed here in this one. Right. So that we are calling it as, now what do we name this one here? It is moving control volume. What we have named it here is moving control volume, used for the physical interpretation of the divergence of velocity. We would like to finally come to the point of divergence of the velocity. Actually, we have already discussed what exactly the divergence is in a theoretical way of understanding. Now we would like to make it as a practical one. So how do we approach this mathematical way of, and that is actually the topic is physical meaning of the divergence of the velocity. Right. So for this one, we have considered some moving control volume. That is a physical interpretation. We are going to make it in this one. Let us take this one. What we have exactly done in the previous slide is we have considered it an infinitesimal small fluid element of a surface ds, moving with a local velocity of v, as it is shown in the previous slide. Now, what are the change in the volume? Whatever the change. So here, just to make it very clear, I'm again stressing at that point. So please don't get confused in between this v and this v. So here one V which is colored red, that is a bold V. So that is representing the velocity vectorial. That is velocity vectorial. That is actually V bar. 1, and here the V which is curved. This V, whether let us call for our understanding it as a small v. So this small v is representing actually the volume. This small v is actually representing the volume, and this capital V with a bold letter is representing the velocity. Right. So talking about the previous one, what we have done is just we have taken on a small elemental surface and we have tracked with respect to in the direction of V. We have just taken that moving control volume we have made from the surface, and the moving control volume we have made with the change in the volume of delta V, because it's in a small infinitesimal fluid element when we are moving it, so that will form only the control volume of delta V. So now, so which has formed like in a thin cylinder like structure when we are moving along that one. So whatever may be the arbitrary shape we are getting it in that one, so in that arbitrary shape we have got something like in a cylinder with a surface area. Let us define now the surface area obtained by it is ds. It's not the actually entire surface area, so but it is a small surface area, ds. Only that ds surface area we have been moved along from that particular. So to review back again, so this is what the ds, v delta t, v, m and s we are discussing about this one. So that means whatever our understanding, that we have kept it in the theoretical or the words we have kept it in here in this now the next point comes it here. So how do we define that volume? Can anyone tell me what is the volume? Is a combination of define volume. So volume, yes, exactly. That volume is the length, breadth, and the time. Sorry, length, breadth, and the width. So that means LBH. If you have 3 in that LBH, if you have 3 in that one, that definitely that is going to be a volume. That is going to be. So here I'd like to see what is the volume which has been moved out from that particular control surface and formed a volume here in that one is here in this discussion. So that is actually this delta V. So that is a change in the volume which has happened, and V into delta T represents only the distance traveled from the point initially T is equal to 0 to the time T is equal to T. And what exactly this n represents is a normal component of the velocity vector. It's actually normal and it's a unit vector perpendicular to the surface. So n is actually n equal to unit vector means n is equal to 1. And what is the surface area which has taken in that direction is ds. So that is meters, and again is the surface area into the meters, and again meter cube. So finally we are satisfied with our equation 1, which states that it is change in the volume is V delta T into the ds. V delta T in the ds. Now here if you notice, we have to notice one more point here in this one is, so our unit vector which was representing in the normal component, but we said that the normal component is traveling actually in the velocity of the V direction. So what we have done is n into ds have mentioned that surface area direction has changed the directional derivative. The directional derivative. So here we have taken the arrow on this ds. That's the directional derivative of the surface area which is changing along that particular surface area. That is being taken off here in this one. And finally we have defined that, so whatever the elemental volume which is occurring or which is taken out from that is delta V is equal to V delta T dot V delta T dot. Now to talk about this one, so completely this has become now. So let us take it on the surface integral of. This is actually, now why do I need to go for the integration of the surface? Why do I need to go on to the integration of the surface? Is because my surface a small elemental, my surface of the small. Let me go back to the previous slide. So what generally we do is when I don't want only the elemental one, when I want to go for the total control, total surface, when I want to go for the total surface, then just integrate on that. Just integrate in that area. Just integrate in that one, integrate in that area or along that particular length. That is what I have done. Cyclic integral of the surface. Cyclic integral over that surface gives me complete change of that particular surface into the volumetric change. Then it will become the total volume change happening along that particular fluid flow, which has resulted me in the equation 2, which has resulted in this equation 2. Right, so this is actually representing the change in the volume. So that has become the equation 1, and the equation 1 that was for only the elemental volume it has been defined, and in the second case I have taken it as an integral over it. So that means now my interest is on the entire control surface which is presented in the previous figure, now entire control surface I would like to address here in this one. So let us go further what exactly we are interested in. So what we are exactly interested in this control, that small elemental control volume, we are converting small elemental surface, we are converting into the volume here in this one. So in our, whenever the equation in the previous slide, so that is delta V, small elemental volume is being converted into the surface. Now this control surface integral, and the entire equation what we have done is we have divided within a delta t. So that means the time variation with respect to. So the elemental volume is divided within a delta t all over the equation 2. Then our equation is given as dv by dt is equal to 1 by delta t surface integral of v dot delta t into ds. So which has been actually v dot delta t, as a delta t gets cancelled, so that means our dv by dt is equal to surface integral of v dot ds. So here the delta t got cancelled, and finally we got the v into ds. So here the v represents the velocity component and s represents the surface area, and here cyclic integral of s represents the surface area. Now what exactly this dv by dt here in this one? So this is actually the substantial derivative. Very good. This is actually representing the substantial derivative in this one. Okay. Now, if we see this actually dv by dt, we have satisfied or fulfilling our definition of the substantial derivative that has again come back here, the substantial derivative. Now, using the Gauss divergence theorem, here the velocity field into the surface area, totally we would like to convert it. So by using the Gauss divergence theorem, the cyclic surface integral of a control surface can be converted into the volumetric integral. So let me annotate it and show. So that has formed here in this one. So the surface integral has formed into the control volume in this, and finally the equation has been converted into del dot v dv. So where dv represents the elemental change of the volume, and del dot v is representing that volume extracted or the moving volume in that control surface. So using the divergence, so from equation 2 to the equation 3 to the equation 4, I have utilized the divergence theorem, and by which I have obtained this control surface into the control volume, and total my equation has become velocity gradient, that is del dot v is equal to dv, del dot v into dv. So where the dv represents the change in the volume happening in that particular fluid flow. So from this one, finally we can write that. Now, if I am not interested in the entire, control surface, but finally I would like to conclude that, see here from this equation 3 to 4, even or delta v. So if I am not interested in the entire control surface, I am interested only in the infinitesimal, or I am interested only in the finite control volume. So then my v can be replaced with, here my actual volume can be replaced with an elemental volume. Here my actually volume can be replaced with an elemental volume. So that is what we have done here in this one. So the actual volume has been replaced with an elemental volume. So then it has become d by dt of delta v. So that is only the elemental volume I am interested in. So on this elemental volumetric change, so now when it has become the elemental volumetric change, I don't want to go with a total surface integral in that case, or total surface integral on that elemental volume is again going to be the same. So the cyclic integral of the volume, leaves out that particular one, and finally I am with only the elemental volume concentration here in this one. So my finally resultant equation is d of delta v. So that is a small elemental volume upon the time, which gives my resultant equation as delta dot v into the del dot v into the delta v, or this equation can even be written as del dot v is equal to 1 by delta v into d of delta v by dt. So here in this expression, if you see, so that means what exactly the physical meaning of the divergence of the velocity is, we are interested in the change of the volume with respect to the time. So to conclude this one simple statement, so we have to derive this all to understand what exactly the physical meaning of the divergence of velocity. It is on the one change, it is already happening on the denominator, that is a delta v volumetric change is being present in that one, but the volumetric change happening with respect to the time, and in the vectorial notations when you are representing, that is actually the physical meaning of the divergence. This is actually the physical meaning of the divergence of the velocity, which is given in the equation 5.